Quick, and I think we're already live. YouTube is quick right now. It's super duper quick. So we just gonna hop right in. We got a lot going on. There's things already happening. This is okay. So what are we watching here again? Just give us the lead in one more time, real quick. We're watching the Adam King show, and uh, what is the basis of this conversation about? What were they debating about here?
I have no idea. I don't keep up with any of his content. The only thing I know about him is he recently had a debate where he partnered with Gavin McGinnis to argue on behalf of Jewish people against Nick Fuentes and Vincent James, who were arguing on behalf of America First and how the America First agenda somehow is anti-Jewish. And
Okay.
so they had that argument, and I guess his claim to fame was he got his partner to walk off in the middle of the debate, and he's been butthurt about it ever since. He's been online complaining about it, taking shots at Gavin McGinnis. But during the course of the interview, they asked him, "It's like, okay, well, if you could get rid of one religion, Islam or Catholicism, which would you get?" And he's like, well, I would get rid of Catholicism instead of Islam. His argument was that Catholicism is worse for the planet than Islam, and
Mm.
his rationale was because the Vatican has all our treasures. And he did us no good service because he even called them treasures. He said they have our treasures. We have to get our treasures back. The Vatican took our treasures. So because just based on that alone, even though these dudes just paratrooped into Israel and allegedly grape aped and murdered a whole bunch of us, um, I'm still mad at the Catholics who have never, to my knowledge, or at least in my lifetime, invaded Israel to murder any Jewish people. But the Catholics are the problem because they're hoarding the treasure. And at one point in the argument, he even said, well, because of anti Semitism, even if I agree with all of you guys, if the anti Semitism gets so bad, I don't agree with Sarah Silverman at all, but I'll have to be in a bunker armed up with me and her protecting one another, and we'll be linked up defending us from you guys if the anti Semitism continues. To which everybody pointed out to him, it's like, yeah, that's the criticism, is when it all comes down to it, it's not an ideology, it's not any principles, it's not any allegiance other than blind tribalism. And when it all comes down to it, even if you completely disagree with Sarah Silverman and you completely agree with Gavin McGinnis, your allegiance is to Sarah Silverman because it's pure tribalism. So he's completely tone deaf, but he really thinks he sounds better and he's smarter than he really is. So it's fun to watch. And when I came across this clip, I'm just interested because I know you guys haven't seen it. But when you watch it, just see if you could pick up where he just, without missing a beat, he doesn't he doesn't indicate at all that he realizes how absurd he sounds.
That's amazing. So what I got from that is we got a tone deaf guy here who thinks that the beheaders are not as bad as the people who took my shinies.
They got his precious.
They took my
They took
shinies.
our
Okay,
treasures.
got it. Okay,
All
and
right.
that's not at all. Okay, I got it. Perfect. Okay, let's listen to this guy.
Why does the snake get a curse that he will live forever? Because in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve were originally created as one being. And when it says that they were split, that at the rib, in the Jewish version, they're split at the rib. In the Christian version, like
The guy he's talking to looks super confused already. If it's just me, or it looks like he's off topic or something, he's just rambling about some rando shit. Dude's just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on?
He's trying his best to keep up.
God takes Adam, puts him to sleep, takes his rib out, does a science experiment in a laboratory, and genetically modifies it to become a woman. It's like a really weird story. But in the original Adam had 4 legs and 4 arms, had an
Mm,
eye in every direction of its head, an ear in every direction of its head. That's
okay.
how it was all seeing, all knowing, because it had 300.
Well, listen, I didn't know that. That's new information for sure. I appreciate it for that.
You know what? That description just made Neon Genesis Evangelion more sense now.
Hey,
Just want to throw that out
I
there.
don't doubt him for some reason. I like where he's going with this.
360 degrees of sight and sound and smell, and everything in creation thought that it was God, that God came, and the angels bowed before Adam, and all of creation bowed before Adam, because it thought that it was God. It had all the features that God had. It was made B'Tselem Elohim, in the exact image of God. I will say one more thing before I say this, is that creature, that original creature, was an asexually reproducing creature. It was its genitalia was constantly in itself, and its perpetual state of conscious ascension was a perpetual state of orgasm.
Oh,
True.
There was nothing everywhere in space.
oh.
Constant orgasms. Now hold on, but I love the transition. You know, the Christians just got a weird story. Like, it's just silly. It's just
This is nothing weird
shit
about this one.
where God like takes Adam and puts him to sleep and does some surgery in a
Yeah,
laboratory.
that's weird. But the original
That's
Adam had
strange.
4 arms, 4 legs, and eyes in every direction, and he walked around in a constant
And
state of
it's a-
perpetual orgasm.
He was nutting everywhere.
No, not necessarily everywhere, because he had
Yeah.
internal genital. So technically, not really
Per-
everywhere, but wow. Okay, listen, I can't dispute his information. So,
Catholic version's still weird, but I get it. I get it.
So when God split them apart at the rib, or at the rib cage, the back of the rib, and when in this, whatever type of lab experiment, what he did was he separated the pollinating force from
he's
the
still taking
incubating
shots.
force. And when when Nachash, who they call in the garden the snake, but he was really the reptilian, when he
He's
saw
looking
this,
around,
he
right?
said, "Oh, this is the creature that was made in the exact image of God. I'm going to take the incubating force, which is the female. I'm going to discard the male, and I am going to be like God, because I will wed myself to this the female side of the exact replica of God, and therefore I will be God." That's what the Torah
This should
means
be a
when it
drinking
says
game.
arome, the nakedness
That's,
and the cunningness.
that's all I'm getting. I don't know what you
Why
should take a shot for, but a shot should be
bro,
taken.
that 2 minutes right there was some of the wildest shit I've ever heard. Son is he's
But
bugging
hey,
out.
the Christian version is wilder, B.
It is pretty weird. I'll give him that. The Christian version is a little weird.
He's saying some weird shit in this 2 minutes 20 seconds, but that Christian version.
But this
No,
is
I
what
like
kills
that.
me with religious literacy. First of all, the Greeks have the exact same story almost about 4 arms and 4 legs and splitting the genders or whatever. You can go to Tiamat and get it on a cosmic level. Like, it's not a completely new story, and there's nothing in the Torah that is not in the Torah. You gotta really stretch the. I don't know if it's maybe Talmudic. I haven't read all of the Talmud, but it's
So
but
what he
that,
explained, you've never read.
that I would love for him to cite the source, because he's saying it's in the Torah. He didn't
Interesting.
reference the Talmudic. He said this is our essentially interpretation. So the Christian scholars and translators, they took the original Jewish text and they got to that story with that sequence of words. But they took that sequence of word because that's all of their extracurricular, like, okay, so this is just for full disclosure. I do think the Jewish cosmology is the correct cosmology. I do think that the understanding of the unseen realm and some of the stuff that happens behind the scenes, I don't think they have an exclusive or any kind of exclusivity on information, but I think their explanation of an original source, a completely supreme being, a hierarchy of principles, folding dimensions, and a purpose on Earth. I think they do have some understanding, but nobody has missed the point more than people that are still Jewish. Nobody has missed it. Like, if you haven't moved on from it yet and you're interpreting that literally, like, you don't think maybe there's some sort of meaning, like there's a wicked principle that is seeking to usurp God and harmonize with humanity and lead humanity astray. Like, no. Can't be that. literally, Satan wants to be the new dick in four-armed Eve. It's literally. And it was God. You know why it was made in the image of God? Because God is literally a four-armed, four-legged dude woman coming in himself perpetually with a face covered with eyes. And that's how he sees everything. Not because there's some sort of infinite consciousness and infinite awareness because it's the supreme thought. No, no, no,
No,
no, no.
more eyes.
Literally, it's a head on planet Earth with the dick up the pussy, seeing everything because it's got a face full of eyes. It's the silliest shit ever. I can't take you seriously after that. That there's no literary meaning to extract from that? That
No
that's literally it?
orgasms that he can see really far.
He's got really good eyes and
Lot
he
of 'em.
likes to come in himself.
At all times.
At all, can't stop.
Cream-
Doesn't even take a break. I mean, at some point you'd be like, look,
Cream
I
pies
can't
for
get
days.
shit done. I gotta pull my dick out of my pussy. I gotta rest for a moment. I can't take it. And you never go flaccid?
That's what
No.
Sunday was. That's what Sunday was. The day
So-
God
so-
pulled out his dick.
That's the
So-
one day he lets it get some air.
Right, okay, our Sunday. It's Shabbos. I'm gonna pull my dick out of my cunt and stop coming for at least one day out of the
I'll let
week.
it tan for 5 hours on Sunday.
No, I don't come on Shabbos.
No,
No.
not at all.
It's just, but there's no literary meaning. Like maybe you're talking about the
love it.
ingredients for creation. If you're talking about the masculine and feminine principles in consciousness
No, it's
and
a
in the
man
life
banging
force.
himself. It's not
Right.
principles. It's not life force. He's banging himself all day. He doesn't have to ask anybody's permission because everything's
He
inside.
gives consent. Yeah.
He gives his own consent. It's perpetual orgasm all day. That's just how he walks around. That's his normal.
You know
He
what
doesn't have any
happened?
sacred time to make union with another person to reach orgasm. No, that's just how he walks around all day.
Isn't that a chronic masturbators
Yes.
cosmology? Doesn't that sound like
And
a
he never
chronic
gets caught
masturbators
because
mythology?
he has eyes all the way around his head. He never gets caught because nobody can sneak up on him.
Hurry up, hurry up. Oh shit, I got this. I looked in every direction. Ain't nobody coming but me. I'm coming a lot. You just
That is such a goofy fucking way. But you know what? No, I'm not gonna say goofy.
no, please say goofy.
You know what the word is? You know what the right word is? For people who are at least attempting to reflect some enlightened energy into the world. I'm gonna say it's elementary. It's just some remedial shit to just land there and not think there's anything behind that. Like you said, no, none of these are literary devices. We're not trying to explain any deeper principles. Like, no, why would we? Well, what does omnipotence mean? He had a lot of eyes on his head. That's going backwards. That's like how Egyptians explained omnipotence. They carve a guy who's got a big eye. Like, so you think it was a 8-foot tall human who had an eye for a head? Like, nah, this is probably just this deity that they're invoking right here. Somebody who's about, perspective or higher perception, shit like that. They can see really far, you know what I mean? It's a literary device. Like, no, he just has a lot of eyes on his head. It's just a way to boil it all down. It's hilarious. I love it. I love that he told that story unironically.
With a straight face.
With
And
a
you know
straight
what? The
face.
first time because I watched it twice, but I was captivated. I'm just looking at him like, is this dude serious? Are
Yeah.
you serious? But as I didn't even pay attention to your boy. I think that's the dude from No More News. And I think he's controversial. He ran afoul of the Kyries and Kanye's, but not Kyries and Kanye's. The Kazar Kyrie and Kanye's. He gets lumped in with anti-Semites. So I think he's in. I don't know enough about him, but I'm pretty sure from what I've heard of him, he gets put in like the Nick Fuentes camp and all that other that dude No More News. So if you talk about Jewish people at all, you get lumped in that. And so I guess he's the new Jew on the block. He said he's top J. That's what he said in the interview.
Top J.
And only
I like it.
and only
We were just
Jewish
having this
people can make
discussion.
everything uncool. Everything.
Top J.
I
He's
like
the
it.
prime
Top
minister.
J.
I like it.
He wants to be the prime minister of
He's the
Jews.
PM.
I want to hear this a little. I want to hear one more time. Now that
All right.
I just want to hear a little bit
The
again.
transition is glorious.
It really is, and it's one particular part that I'm listening for. I just want to hear one more time.
He will live forever. Because in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve were originally created as one being. And when it says that they were split, that at the rib, in the Jewish version, they're split at the rib. In the Christian version, like God takes Adam, puts him to sleep, takes his rib out, does a science experiment in a
Condescending.
laboratory, and
Yeah,
genetically
silly
modifies
shit.
it to become a woman. It's like a really
Whatever.
weird story. But in
Weird.
the Jewish,
Fuck those
Weird.
niggas.
the
Yeah, yeah,
original
yeah.
Adam had 4 legs
Let me
and
tell you
4
the truth,
arms.
B.
Bro,
Just, you
right
understand?
into it.
There's no listen, let me put you on, son. The original Adam had 4 arms and 4 legs, eyes all over his face, and kept fucking his good non-stop.
Not that
He
weird
kept
shit y'all be talking about.
kept going to sleep in a lab and shit.
I'm starting to understand how Malachi Z. York took over Brooklyn.
I
Fucking
completely
weirdo.
understand. I completely understand. I love
I
how
see it now.
he didn't even do no this is how you know he has the innocence of an ignorant child. Like he didn't tap dance at all. He didn't. There was no subterfuge.
Nope.
There was no jazz hands. He was like, no, that
was
story's
science.
silly. Listen to my story; it's better. That was a classic. Just a fuck you, hooray for me. No bells and whistles. Just pure human. That's just what it is. He's not a snake oil salesman who's got rebuttals ready for you to try to sell you on some shit that he knows doesn't work. He didn't go that far. He just likes his story better than he likes yours. And that's all he needs. I love it. It's beautiful, bro.
The Jehovah Witness on
The-
his bike right now. That's what he is.
Absolutely.
And genetically modifies it to become a woman. It's like a really weird story. But in the
But
Jewish, the original Adam had 4 legs and 4
Original.
arms, had an eye in every direction of its head, an ear in every direction of its head.
But
That's how
why?
it was all seeing, all knowing, because
I love how you don't understand that you just went backwards. People in ancient times who maybe wanted to leave messages and ideas for later generations. That's what they would do. They would have a person who has a bunch of eyes and ears all over their head because that means he saw everything and heard everything. But that's not it's not a real person who has eyes and ears
Right.
all over their head. That you're not supposed to go in that direction from it. I've never heard a person explain it in reverse like that. You know, that's why omnipotence, because he had eyes and ears all over his head. That's why. It's supposed to go the other way. Yeah, they made this person with this big old eyes all over his head because he was supposed to be omnipotent. Oh, that makes sense. You can't go backwards. That's
Look,
I've
being-
never heard that done before.
If you're still Jewish now, it's religiously Jewish, and you just want to miss the point. You just want to misinterpret everything. I don't see how you can take Judaism and contrast it with the teachings of Christ and not see that one is superior and just makes more sense about the nature of God.
Yeah,
One
I feel like
is
I feel like he's
yeah.
describing like a cell. But he wanted to make it sound like something completely opposite. Like that's the original text right here. Like this is what it is.
I'd love to hear the origin because I've read a lot of apocryphal shit.
Because I wanted to ask you, like when he was talking about that, I wanted to ask you, but I don't know. I thought it was gonna be rude. But I wanted to ask you if you read anything that in the
fuck is he
text.
talking about?
Yeah,
So,
like
the
have you read
on-
this in
the
your bar
only-
mitzvah?
the only story I know of that's in that vein is was something with Zeus doing something similar with humans. And there's some overlap, like the story of Achilles, you can find that in the Old Testament. I forget what king or leader, but he caught an arrow and it was right on the back part of his ankle, and that's what killed him. You know,
Achilles.
right? And so there's overlaps in the mythologies. There's very similar. They're kind of in the same area. You know what I mean. They're both kind of oily. You know, Greeks and Jews. A lot of goats and animal milk. Like they got a similar. They're Mediterranean. Some Mediterranean shit. Some Mediterranean mythology. But I've never heard that story in a Jewish context. I can tell you, like, I've heard some rabbinical interpretations, like that. Again, it's like, so you really are going to take this literally? You really? So, like, one rabbinical interpretation of Genesis, because the word for know can mean sexually. Like, if you know somebody, because you don't see people's nakedness, you're not supposed to see people's nakedness. If you do, you're going to get cursed like Ham. You better walk backwards and cover up that dick. Don't look at it. Don't look at the dicks. Don't look at the pussies. Don't look at it. Keep cover them up. So when you know some shit you're not supposed to know. So fucking and knowing is the same shit. So when it tells the story about God bringing all the animals to Adam, and it said that he didn't have a helpmate that was meat for him, like he didn't have something that worked. There's a rabbinical interpretation that says he tried to fuck all the animals.
Makes sense.
Like, so I want you to understand, like, the way that they go out of their way to miss the point and to quibble about this shit. That obviously some of this shit is analogy or metaphor, and it's alluding to higher level concepts, and you're just trying to catalog it as best you can, but you insist on taking it literally. So they take the words and they translate it literally, which is probably where he's getting this 4-armed and 4 feet shit, because 4 arms and 4 legs is not in there. Those words are not in the Torah. 4 arms and 4 legs. It's not there.
Well,
It's
this
not
the only
there.
thing I found. It says,
Yeah.
according to Greek mythology, humans were originally created with 4 arms and 4 legs and a head with 2 faces. And
Right.
fearing their power, Zeus split them into 2 separate parts, condemning them to spend their lives in search of their other halves. That sounds
could it
that's
be?
diabolical. You know what I'm saying?
But look, could it be that it's a story about this realm of existence is built on duality?
Right.
There's competing forces.
Paradox.
Right. And the way that we have biological life, it is contingent upon lots of binaries. You got DNA, you got mRNA or whatever. You got male, you got female. You got heat, you got cold from the absence of it. Right. You've got different ingredients for the blueprint to make existence work here. I mean, isn't it possible when it says humans were 4-armed, 4-legged, and 2-headed, and he divided them? You could be talking about when you take consciousness and maybe eternal perfect consciousness where there's no schism and there's no bickering and there's no disunity, but there's perfect harmony, is only when you have a unified consciousness. But you can't have unified consciousness here. We try to do it, but what keeps us from being able to have it? Because we have souls trapped in needy ass meat prisons, and our meat prisons compel us to do fucked up shit. Like, I'd like to be nice and be right by you, but I'm really fucking hungry, and I'm worried that my meat prison is going to turn off, and I don't know what happens to my consciousness if my meat prison turns off. So I would just rather turn off your meat prison and not have to worry about it and take your shit. And so could it be that now we're trying to reconcile, and how do we create life? We create life violently. We create violently. The first time you fuck, there's some shit. Some shit. I've never heard a woman like, yo, the first time I took a dick, it was great. Didn't hurt. There was no blood. It was just great. It was a smooth transaction. Slid right in. Everything was great. And we're just like, oh my God, this is fucking great. It's not great for her.
Doesn't matter.
Not the first. Right. And then you get a baby. That shit ain't great for her. Like, then you got no problem getting in the next time because a whole fucking body came out of the pussy hole. Did you think an infinite creator was like, all right, guys, I'm making this shit. I'm making it from scratch. It's me. I got infinite wisdom. I got infinite knowledge. There's no engineer in the universe better than me. I know how this shit's going to work. All right, cool. How are you going to do it? Well, I'm going to make a pussy. It's going to be a big hole. Sounds awesome. Is it going to smell good? Most of the time, yes. What's going to happen? Well, there's going to be piss coming out of it, but you can also come in it. All right, where are you going to place it? Right next to the asshole where shit comes out. Awesome. I like where we're going here. This is not a design flaw. This is like putting the engine in the rear of the car. It's perfect. It's perfect. If you get rear-ended, maybe something will explode. Who knows? Don't worry about it. Let's keep going. All right, what else are we going to do? All right, so here's the thing. Humans are going to have to make more of each other. Okay, how are they going to do it? Well, they're going to rub up against each other until white comes out, and then a baby is going to incubate. And as the baby incubates, he's going to rip through the pussy and destroy it forever. It'll never be the same. It'll never be as nice. You'll never get that new car smell back. But then you can't go to other pussies because that's wrong. You got to keep going to that pussy that was torn up. And you got to keep making more humans because a lot of them are going to die because there's these things called viruses going around. Well, why you got viruses? That seems good. Well, it's kind of necessary and it kind of makes your DNA and they kind of blend together. And then you get retroviruses and then you evolve and things change and then you get stronger and you can survive longer. So, all right. There's a lot of interplay here. I get that, a lot of duality. But again, you're omnipotent. You can make it any way that you want. Does there have to be so much blood and pain to make new people? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's got to happen.
Also, make them
somebody
eat,
did
breathe,
the
and talk.
Catholic version, by the
Also,
way.
make them eat, breathe, and talk all through the same hole too.
And just in case you're eating and you don't do it right, now you can't breathe.
Dead.
Perfectly. This is a feat of engineering. Now, could it be that somebody raised their hand and asked the question and said, wait a minute, if this is our starting point, this something sounds a little off. Blasphemy, stone him, kill him. I saw him picking up sticks on Saturday. We have to murder him. It just doesn't make any sense if that's your starting point. So the priests got together and like, well, you know what? Todd had a great point. It does sound weird that we have the pussy and the asshole right next to each other. And there is a lot of bleeding and pain and even shitting when the babies come out. It seems like there'd be a better system. What do we tell them? Tell them it's their fault. Tell them they ate some shit they weren't supposed to eat, and it's
Yeah.
all their fault. And before, babies were just dropping out of pussies gingerly with no problems at all. That's how biology worked, and then you fucked up. You did the wrong thing. So it's all hiding. It's hiding the fact that creation on this plane is planned obsolescence. It's thrown together in a very precarious way, and whoever figured it out and was imitating God got the ingredients to coalesce and intermingle in such a way that you kind of got something like life, but it's not like life on the plane that God exists, where you're talking about infinite, perfect consciousness. We got that divine spark, but we got it in a fucking needy, fucked up, fearful, horny, violent meat suit. And when you look at it through the prism of the teachings of Christ, what's he gonna tell you? Yo, the body is it's a prison. It's the flesh and the spirit. They're at war with each other. They're not. The body is not the home. It's just a tent. You're supposed to leave it. My father has mansions in his house. There's a permanent, eternal level of existence, but you're not there, and this is not it. It doesn't exist here. Look at all your leaders. They're thieves and they're robbers and they're imitating the shepherd, but they're not the shepherd. They make merchandise of you. It's some fucked up shit that you got going on here. But what is the Jewish interpretation? God wants us to be in charge of this. He wants everybody else to be our slaves, and we're going to be in charge of it. It's our destiny. Listen, he made everybody. He doesn't really like them. He basically made them for us to fucking take their shit and for them to be our slaves. That's the only reason. The infinite creator in all of his wisdom said, look, I'm going to make some people that I really fucking like. You guys, you're my guys. What about the other people? Why are you making them? So you got fucking slaves to fuck. So you got people that can be your footstool. You're the chosen ones. You're going to rule over all of them. Trust me, it's coming. Well, we're really kind of getting fucked up now. We're making never again t-shirts because we kind of been getting pushed around. So what's up with that? Like, maybe you're interpreting the shit wrong. And even like, and you see another, and I'll shut the fuck up after this. But like, even when you compare it, like with Jesus saying, nah, if you think about fucking a bitch, you already committed adultery in your heart. And you got Dennis Prager saying, nah, man, you jerk off to whatever you want. Just look. I mean, I believe God was a multi-eyed bitch fucking himself in perpetuity, non-stop. So, I mean, why would I have a problem? You fuck your own pussy, do it. But but there's all kinds of levels of morality that take place in your consciousness. It's an understanding that it's not just in your physical body, because the physical body is just a fucking meat prison. It's a meat prison for your divine spark. How do you keep your divine spark clean? How do you purify that shit? And when you start looking at your own consciousness and divine spark, you got to be honest with yourself and say, fuck, I want to do a lot of fucked up shit. And there's a biological urge. That's the whole point of fasting. It's your meat suit telling you, look, we need some shit. And you got to be like, no, bitch, no, I'm not going to do it. Because we have this constant
You gotta
pull.
be
Like,
able to control the mind because you can't control the body.
yeah, and so there's a totally different interpretation of morality, and even in what it was, because there was a whole bunch of messiahs. And what did they say? Yo, get your sword. We gonna fuck these Romans up, just like they've been fucking us up, and we gonna take their shit. Yo, that dude's the Messiah. Why? Yo, he killed some Romans. We about to be in charge of this bitch. He did an insurrection. We about to be in charge. All right. Well, that really didn't pan out. And then if we get in charge, well, then what? Ain't somebody gonna try to do the same shit to us? Isn't there gonna be a perpetual cycle of violent motherfuckers that are getting the short end of the stick, the footstools, if you will, that we're supposed to make all of humanity our footstools? Well, what if these motherfuckers get disgruntled? Like, no, I don't like being you. Weren't you slaves in Babylon? Right? Wasn't the promise to Jewish people like, look, look, shit is fucked up right now, but I'm gonna come and all these Babylonians that are changing your name and fucking you up right now, I'm gonna fuck them up the way that they fuck you up. That's my promise to you. It's all in the flesh. It's a fleshly notion of righteousness and rulership. It's a fleshly notion of what it means to be blessed by God or what the end times looks like. And the end game for you is the game doesn't change. You're just in charge of the brutality and the fuckery. And your belief is that God delivers it to you. So if I'm to interpret Judaism that way, Judaism is a super fucked up religion. If I just stayed in my Judaism, it was like, yeah, we're God's chosen people and God doesn't give a fuck about anybody else but us, then I might have a different attitude. But if I'm turning in the Willy Wonka gobstopper, like, look, you can have it. If that's righteousness, you can have it. Then I think I got to come to another conclusion that an infinite, all-knowing, righteous God wouldn't create people just to fuck over, wouldn't create existence in such a way where there's the law of thermodynamics and everything is just constantly falling apart. I don't think that's his design. I think there's something mixed in the signal from the original source where maybe there was some shit that was hungry, it wanted to walk through fires and tell people to cut their dick skins off, and it was like, yo, I'm God. Look at my dick and my pussy. Look at my face covered in eyes. Bitch, I'm God. How would you not know that I'm God? Look at me, bitch. I got wings. I'm God. And I think whatever this shit behind the scenes, how the universe works or whatever, the divine consciousness that you make a connection with, I think you would conclude if you were truly seeking righteousness, if you hungered and thirsted for it, I think you would agree that Christ's interpretation of the point of Judaism and the point of spirituality makes more sense. It involves less invasions, less conquering, less acts of violence than if you believe the Jewish interpretation. So if you're still a Jew now, in light of Christ coming and giving his own rabbinical yoke and his interpretation of those ideas, I think it's hard for me to take you seriously because you're interpreting shit literal and you're all about it, like making it work in this existence, when I think if you're paying attention, everything about this existence, if you're really paying attention, tells you that this shit is destined to fucking
And
fall apart.
and
There's
we don't know what the fuck
nothing
is
you can
going
build
on.
here that's not a sandcastle. My bad, bro.
No,
I'm
no,
saying, and
that's
we
a
don't
fact.
truly don't know what the fuck is going on, but it's horrible.
No, that's a fact. You have no clue, but that's part of the whole paradox of the thing, right? Is like knowing what's going to happen and seeing how everything eventually unravels. It doesn't make you want to just sit back and accept it. It's like, no, we got to keep building, keep adding things to the end. It's like a train track. It's going off the cliff. Like, no, just keep putting track in front of the train. It'll keep going. Like, no, but it's still crashing. Like, I don't care. We're just going to keep creating systems that keep putting track in front of the train. And, hopefully nobody worries about it for too long. Just let it happen. Whatever's gonna happen, let it happen. But you can't sit down. You can't stop moving. You got to keep building car washes.
It's hard to take people like that serious though. Like it's like you want to meet somebody that can say, "Look, I have the answers. We make you be a better person. You can figure yourself out." And then when somebody just sits there and is like, "Okay, so listen, the guy that we believe in has 8 eyes. He jerks off
Mm.
all day long.
He's a chronic masturbator who can't be
Chronic
caught
masturbator.
because he sees everything.
He's all knowing. Then it's like, what?
You could get away with that. That's the like you can get
Yeah.
away with that. You don't have to hide that anymore. You don't have to be ashamed of it. I'm pretty sure you could start a cult with that God.
There's
With that
somebody
God
that's looking for that.
iconography, yeah, absolutely. There's a key for
I
every God.
wouldn't I would have never brought my wife to the upper room if you didn't tell me that God was a chronic masturbator with infinite eyes on his face.
Right.
I never would have done it. I wouldn't have shown up here and relinquished all my rights to private property unless you gave me that story. I'm sure that it works. I'm
That's why
sure
you
of
gotta
it.
love Scientology because it's the perfect example of what these old ass religions basically probably started out as. Some guy
But
who wrote spaceship books and was like, I want to start a religion.
That's pretty
Let's
but
much
look
what
at
happened.
10,000 BC.
That's pretty much what happened.
but you know what though? But some of this shit, like it does it. I do, but I can't interpret it literally. But if you tell me a story that the dude that committed the first murder, the first thing that he did was start building cities, I do kind of
You have
extract
to
some meaning from
question,
that.
but
Yeah.
you also have to that I love. That's a perfect example. With that story too, is like that tells you when you're reading everything, you have to question everything because you can't listen to this person who believes in the 8 eyed, jacking off God because it's like, wait a minute, this guy left whose parents was the only people here, and he found the city, right?
All by himself,
All
brick
by
by
himself.
brick, and populated it with who?
Well, no,
How?
he met a wife when he got there. But the place that he went to
Was
already had a
popular,
name.
right?
It
And
already
that
had a name. It was Ybor. He went to Ybor City
established.
basically.
Yeah.
He killed his brother and they
Populated.
sent him to Ybor.
But here's the thing: is that because this shit is a Cliff Notes version, there's meaning to be extracted from it. It's not supposed to be interpreted literally, and that's why you got all these commentaries. And I love talking to Christians who think that they're not on the same shit. It's like, bitch, have you been to a Christian bookstore? Y'all do the same shit. Y'all got all this shit that doesn't make sense, and y'all write volumes and volumes and volumes to try to reconcile the irreconcilable instead of asking for some more information. Like, well, what's that shit the Vatican ain't in, ain't translating? Like, what does that shit say that they refuse to
Oh,
translate?
you know
Like,
why?
who were the Essenes? Like,
You
where?
know why? You know what that's like? I'm telling you, while you were talking, I just got the visual in my head. It's like if you sleeping on the air mattress, right? You may not know a lot about how air mattresses are constructed and what the whole inner workings of the factory. You don't know what kind of glue they use. Like you don't know nothing about air mattresses, but you do know there's that one little flap right there. If I open this flap, all the air coming out this motherfucking mattress, and that's
Oh
what's
shit!
happening with religion and people going to church. They're not asking no questions. They may not know all the details. They don't know all the inner workings. I don't know how old my Bible is. Or is it from the Gutenberg? I don't know none of that shit. But I do know if I start pulling at some of these little questions in some of these areas, it's gonna be like fucking with the flap on that air mattress. And nobody wants to be sleeping on the floor because you decided to poke around at some shit.
Right.
At the very least, you can have a very comfortable vessel to rest on. And that's what they want. Above all else, they want a comfortable vessel to
It's
rest on.
hilarious to me.
And
Yeah,
that's what they
and
have because they don't ask no questions and it conforms as you grow. That's the best thing about it, right? As you change your mind and as your own personal things evolve, that shit kind of evolves with you because you can always figure out a way to make it work for whoever you are at the time.
yeah, that's a lovely analogy. Questions are religion is an air mattress that you can't open the what is it? The lid? It's not called the lid. The plug?
Then I don't
I
know.
don't
It
know.
seems like it'd be called a nipple or something. I mean,
Yeah, there's got to be a name for it. Don't
the
don't
valve.
unplug the nipple from your religion. But
Yeah,
but
don't do that.
it but it is. It's like, and all this Talmudic shit and all of this extra commentary to explain shit. Like, Christians believe that that's why Jews missed the point. They were so caught up in their religion and all their extra curricular debates about shit that didn't matter. At that point, it had nothing to do with God or knowing God or carrying out the will of God. It just became about, look at all this shit that I know. Look at all these questions that I've been able to answer, and look at all these mysteries I've been able to reconcile. And that shit is just vain jangling. It's fucking pointless and meaningless. And you see Christians, and that's why I do think, man, shit goes in waves and it pulsates, and the shit repeats itself. It's like where Christianity is now, that's exactly where Judaism was when Christianity arrived. Like, you had all this information and you missed the point, and there's certain barriers that they won't go by. Like you'll have a Christian that'll tell you, yo, I know the Bible is real because they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. And when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, all the shit that was in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it matched up with what's in my Bible today. Okay. So you're right. That does mean that shit was well preserved, and there was a degree of textual integrity that was maintained over for at least what you know of, like, maybe 2,500 years, somewhere around there, right? But who are the people that kept those? And why did they keep them out there in the middle of nowhere? Why? And what else? Did they maybe have text about a grand teacher that was like 200 years before Christ? Maybe there's some more information that you're not getting. And maybe you're too caught up on these icons and literal figures, and people had to give you the story that way. But maybe there's information that if you had it, it would make you incompatible with this world. And you may have to, like, the God with all the eyes fucking himself perpetually, you're going to interpret that literally, right? But sell all you have and give to the poor, you're not going to interpret that literally. Like, it's really funny to
That's
me.
a parable.
Right. That's a
We can't figure that
nah, I
one out.
need my stuff.
They speak in
Yeah,
riddles.
I gotta get some seer stones, and like I'm gonna have
It was
to
a rich
consult
man
the
that
elders.
pulled Jesus out of the tomb. So, but
Yeah.
anyways, yeah.
Yeah, because
You know,
giving all my shit away, that's a whole different conversation.
that shit is painful, but it's like you don't really believe it. Like, if you're really a Christian, then you believe all of this shit is from the devil and it's destined to fail, but you don't totally know why, because you've cut yourself off from a lot of the mysteries because you refuse to accept that there might be more information out there. You let that shit get curated. You'll tell yourself that Jude is directly from God's mouth to Jude's ear. He told him to write it down, and it's absolutely 100%. But then Jude quotes Enoch, and those filthy dark-skinned Ethiopians kept Enoch, and you said, nope, not in our Bible, not in our Vatican.
Not
Well,
with
what does
those
it say?
niggas.
And what does it say? It tells you that all this shit is evil. So yeah, if you a murderer, what are you going to be doing? You're going to be making a surrogate god. And what is a surrogate god? The government. I'm going to build a city, and I don't want to accept my condition that I'm in a slow state of decay in the middle of fucking nowhere. What is a prison cell? Bitch, we're on Walrus Island. We are on Walrus Island. We can't leave unless we got a spaceship. And even when we get in the spaceship, where are we gonna go? Because we can't breathe anywhere else. We are on the prisoner island. We can't get off of here. We can't get out of our bodies. And before we started with our witty inventions, we couldn't get across the ocean. We couldn't get up in the sky. We were stuck right here on Earth. And maybe when it says he picked up the dust of the earth, he doesn't literally mean he made a little clay human and breathed into it. Maybe that's just commentary on our condition.
Pinocchio.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That is exactly it.
That's exactly it.
It's a silly story, but in my real story, God just made some dirt and breathed into it, and voila, that's how humans. Well, okay, but that's how the first human got made, and then how did the rest of the humans get made? By fucking.
He fucked the baboon. He fucked the giraffe.
But the first one on
that.
the assembly line was super clean. Yo, it was just some dirt and some breath. And
Easy.
but how we going after that? Fucking bleeding and shitting.
Yeah, make them screw. It takes 9 months. You're gonna split your bottom half open. You're gonna poop
Wide
yourself.
open.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
your baby
If you're a
can
woman,
die mad
you're a woman.
easy for like 2 years. Like, well, a horse's baby falls out and can run immediately. Well, your baby can die easy for 2
That's
years.
the curse.
and you
That's
can
the
die
curse.
too. Well,
If
this
you're a
seems,
woman.
I don't know.
If you're a woman.
This does not seem like a great plan. And so maybe when you talk about God, maybe you're talking about a supreme consciousness. So when you wrestle with the morality in your life, you're doing it within your consciousness. When you're talking to God and you're praying, you're doing it within your consciousness. Maybe there is something or a connection there, and maybe there is no other barrier, but except maybe you having the understanding that you can't save yourself. Maybe that's the point of the story, is that in order for you to be truly righteous here on earth, you can't be compelled by the demands that this life thrusts upon you. And the temptation is always to have the surrogate God who will make us comfortable, who will take care of us. How would and so some dude comes along, it's like, yo, don't give a fuck about what you eat. Don't worry about it. Yo, and listen, matter of fact, if you're not ready to die, you can't even follow me. You can't walk this path that I'm trying to give you. If someone can make you afraid to do the right thing because they say they're going to take your food away, they're going to harm your family. If you're not willing to abandon your family, abandon your work, abandon your food, abandon your comfort, if you're not willing to do that, you can't be my disciple. Hey, Lord, what must I do? You know the commandments. What do they say? And I'd love to debate with Bryson Gray, but he keeps ducking me. And you know what command Jesus never told the rich young man to do? He never told him keep the Sabbath. He never said worship no other gods than me, because only an insecure motherfucker would have to tell you that. If you're God and there's no other gods, you ain't got to tell somebody, don't worship no other gods. I'm the only God in town. But if you are part of some sort of hierarchy and there's a lot of you motherfuckers, maybe you need to say that. If you some Enochian angel type shit and you teaching people how to do all this shit and they're going to build a statue of you and this nation is going to follow you and that nation is going to follow the other motherfucker, well, then maybe you got to say no other God. But I know when he comes and asks Jesus and you believe Jesus is God in the flesh, he did not include worship no other God but me. And he did not include keep the Sabbath holy. That shit did not matter. But he said all of the shit that has to do with what? The duality, the distinctions between human beings, right? Because Adam was split from Eve, cave was split from Abel, nation was split from nation. It's one more degree of separation as humanity continues to fall and become more and more fucked up. But he says, how do you treat each other? You know the commandments. Don't lie, because that'll get other people fucked up. Don't murder anybody. Don't steal from anybody. It's all the shit about how does your conscience relate righteously to another human being's consciousness, and how much do you let the demands of your meat suit fuck up your morality? You know the commands. The Sabbath shit, the no other God shit, they didn't even pop on the radar. And what did the rich young ruler say? Lord, I've done all of this shit. First of all, lying. I'm sure you did do all that shit perfectly, but he felt confident enough to say, yeah, I did all of that shit. And what he say? All right, one thing you lack, sell everything, bitch. Give it all up. Renounce all of your attachments to this shit. That is authentic Christianity. You don't know any real Christians. Nobody walking on this earth right now, I don't, maybe the Amish. The Amish are as close as you can get. People who are just like, look, I know this shit is temporary. I'm not trying to make myself great. If you're trying to make yourself great, you can't. You're going to make yourself great even if you got to murder a motherfucker. And the first thing you want to do is build a city. First thing you want to do is get a bitch to shoot out a baby with a bunch of blood and shit. You want to keep perpetuating your species and stay here as long as possible and cling to life and make medical science advancements and figure out how to put your consciousness in a machine. You're on some other shit. That ain't, there's only one religious figure that I know of who Christians believe is the physical embodiment of God, and there was absolutely nothing affirming life here. Everything that dude taught humanity was maybe in line with some of the shit that the Essenes had. Go look at that yourself. But It was all about, yo, renounce this shit. Don't have no part in it. Because once you're a part of it, you got to play the game. Once you're in charge, you got to make some motherfuckers a footstool. You see how the Gentiles exercise authority over you? They got to command motherfuckers and tell them what to do. They got to threaten people. You better follow this law. I wrote this law. You better follow it or I'll kill you. I got soldiers that I can send to you to fuck you up. Like there's a pattern of how this world works. And allegedly, if you're connected with that infinite God consciousness, you're not caught up in all of this shit. Yeah, and yet I'll go on Twitter and I'll see all these Christians who are absolutely consumed with what's going on in the world. Like this is their home. Like they're gonna live here forever. Like the
The
point of
fact they're
existence.
connected to politics tell you they're full of shit.
Absolutely. Like, bitch, all of these kingdoms belong to Satan. If you read your Bible, that's what you believe. But you think you're gonna vote the right person in. But you can have another conversation like, yeah, this is worldly affairs and this will make my life better. But say that. Don't say some ridiculous shit like God would want you to vote for George Bush. Get the fuck
Yeah,
out of here. That's
get the
silly
fuck
shit.
out of here.
That is silly because God would only really want you to vote for Donald Trump. I mean,
Bro,
that's
I remember
clearly.
I remember I was helping a lady out, and then we were just talking because I'm one of those the good ones. But anyways, she was like, yeah, I'm just thankful that Bush is a Christian and he's our president. All I could think about was the war he started.
Because that's just
When she
business.
said that, because
That's
I'm like,
business,
what?
bro. The book is the book tells you that you can whoop ass when you need to whoop ass. Like it's all in there. That's why it's perfect. It's a perfect document for whatever you want to do with a society. If you want to
That's what I
lead
felt like when I
people,
read the Quran. That's exactly what I
if you
felt
want to
like.
lead
Yeah,
people in a
buy their
way,
necks.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. If you want to show them a way to be peaceful and live with the land and all that shit, you can find the right scriptures to tell them that. And if you want them to be warmongers that kill their fucking neighbors for not keeping the Sabbath, there's some scriptures for that too. It's just it can go either way, and that's probably what most of the best stuff has. If you try to go too far to one extreme or the other, it's not going to work. You're going to scare the shit out of people. Like Islam. Islam, and I know we've got to be careful with how we talk about Islam but I think they're at the top of the religious game right now because they're willing to kill you for,
That's not fair to say because Christians have done the exact same thing.
but they
They're
But
lost
I don't
not
their
want to say
doing it
edge.
I don't
now.
want to say Christians, but
Christians
Listen,
lost their edge. They're pussified. They're not gonna find your IP
I don't
address.
know, man.
but here's
They
the
got
thing.
remote control planes and they're just bombing motherfuckers.
But
Not
but if but
not
if
for
they
drawing
were,
pictures of Jesus.
but if they were though, then they would be betraying their faith, and that's the difference.
Right.
Jesus healed the ear that Peter cut off, and supposedly he was the first pope, and he did violence, and he did violence on behalf of God in the flesh. Again, if you believe all this, and God in the flesh said, "Nope, that's not how it's going down." There was never ever a call to violence from Jesus. There's absolutely been calls to violence from Christians. And that's why I say the Old Testament and the New Testament are not compatible. This was a decision made by kid fuckers. I think it was like 400 by 396. I think was when the Vulgate was finalized. Like that was the first we compiled all the text. And they had the Council on Nicaea or whatever. But these were decisions from men who eventually went on to bang your kids because they gained your trust and covered it up. These by their fruits you should know them. How can you read the words of Jesus and see those principles and think that this is an institution that's enacted violence, an institution that, because like you said, right? But yeah, Christians have a war, but they lost their edge. Absolutely. They were commissioning kings to go and fuck shit up on their behalf. Look, Jesus needs you to invade France. We gotta kill these motherfuckers in Spain. Jesus wants it. Jesus, the ear healer who just let motherfuckers kill him, he didn't even fight back. He was like, look, whatever. I'm cool. Like, go ahead, kill me. I'm not fighting to stay here in this hell before the fire set. I'm not trying. But yes, if you the I can't take a person if you're a seriously if you're a textual spiritual person, like okay, I'm spiritual, but it's because I rely on ancient text. If you just saying I'm out in the woo and I close my eyes and whatever comes to me, that's God, cool, that's different. But when you start getting into Christians, Muslims, Jews, you're talking about texts. You're talking about you're relying, you believe, even though the Bible tells you that anything written by the finger of God was destroyed, it never made it to humanity. But you're telling me, hey, this is God's information to me. Then if you're a Christian, you're supposed to believe that Christ is the fullness of God, that Christ is the example of God's behavior. Christ is, not Yahweh. Yahweh will tell you to fucking run up in there and take everybody's shit. Yo, take all of that shit. But you believe Christ. So if you believe that Christ is the fulfillment of everything and you're supposed to follow his example, you can't go to the Old Testament to pull a verse to be like, yo, this is why we got to invade Iraq. We got to do it. We don't have any choice. Like, I can't take you seriously, especially Muslims too, because Muslims will say, yeah, we believe in Jesus, we believe in the New Testament, but some shit got corrupt, or blah, 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 blah. Look, any motherfucker that says, I believe in an infinite creator that needs you to do some shit, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Not only do I not buy it, I don't think you buy it. If your God is such a pussy that he can't handle his business on his own, something's wrong. Yo, God needs me to start this war. God needs me to kill this cartoonist. God needs me to kill this fucking abortion doctor.
The hand of God.
That is some silly shit. He made everything. He's aware of everything, but he can't get around to it. Right? Like, but if God was like, look, well, what am I asking you to do? I'm asking you to not participate in this world. And just like they hated me and killed me, you're going to be peaceful. You're going to be loving. And guess what they're going to do? Because they're descendants of Cain. They're city builders. They're going to fucking kill you. They're going to kill you. You're going to run afoul of their law. You're going to run afoul of their agenda. And they're going to fucking kill you. And guess what you're called to do? Let them.
Yo,
You're
can we
not
have that as a skit? God talking to
Jesus
Jesus.
is trying to get you
And like
killed, bro.
he's like 5 years old. And God is talking
Damn.
to Jesus.
Well, but
Jesus
Father,
trying to get
but
you killed.
I
That was
heard
like
I heard in a couple hundred
that
years
was a
there's gonna be these
perfect
dudes, the
monologue.
Muslims, they're banging kids, they're murdering motherfuckers, they ain't playing around. Can I fight back? Can I be a Muslim? Nope.
No.
You gotta die. This ain't home. This ain't how shit is supposed to work. There's another motherfucker in charge of this realm of existence, and it's not me. And so you just gotta go there. You gotta be the example, and they're gonna murder you. And if anybody follows you and imitates your example, people they're gonna run afoul of one of these motherfuckers in their agenda, and they're gonna kill them too. Because that's just how this world works. It's ran by murderers. There's wheat and the tares, and the wheat is meek, and the tares will tear some shit up. They will fuck you up, and they will tell you that they're doing it in my name. But everybody that came before me is a liar and a thief. They want to harness human power to carry out their agenda, and they do not reflect the character of God at all. They're posers. They're emulating. Creating a city, creating the state is emulating the power of God, and that's why they can't help themselves. Why do we got to have particle colliders? We're going to get past the barrier. Well, why do we got to upload our consciousness in a fucking robot? Cuz I got to live forever. Well, why? Can't we figure out how to feed everybody and be nice to each other first? Nah, you don't
Nah, that's
understand what the fuck
stupid.
we're trying to do. That's not what we're here to do. That's not what we're organizing human energy to achieve.
You
We're
want,
not here
Metaverse,
to
baby.
solve problems.
Metaverse.
We're
you
here
want
to
me to feed you
leverage problems to do
forever?
more of our shit.
You want me
Yeah.
to feed you forever and make your life better forever? No, nah,
Just
bro,
vote
fuck
for
Impossible.
me.
that,
You
Let's
man.
see
keep
what
having
happens for the next 4
babies.
years.
Nah,
Stop having babies.
yeah, it's all a horrible grift. You know what it sounds like? I think you might have stumbled onto some existential truth when you said it's somebody else in charge, somebody pretending, because the archetype that we've been given, like a lot of it does kind of feel like it's like if you hire a 17-year-old babysitter, right, to watch your fucking 5-year-olds, really 4-year-old little kids, and then he outsources it. He's like, you know what? I'm 17. I got better shit to do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep most of the money for myself, but I'll hire like a 10-year-old. You know, he's older than the 5-year-olds, but he's not quite as trustworthy and reliable as a 17 or 18-year-old would be. So it's not the one who is really in charge of the situation. It's this other immature deity motherfucker who's like, yeah, that's the one he makes the steam come down the stairs with him. He walks down the stairs and with a cape on and tells the 5-year-olds the stories about how he can fly and how he created the whole universe. And they're all sitting there like, wow, oh my gosh. He's like, yep, and you have to worship me. You got to worship me or you don't get any dinner. And he's just making up rules and shit so they can fucking feed him all the praise that he needs to have because he's a weird ass 10-year-old. And that's kind of what it seems like, especially Old Testament. It seems like it's just some weirdo that found something already. Like, he didn't make all of this. He found something that was already happening, already under construction, and it was unsupervised. So he just hopped in and started acting like it was him. Yeah, and so it's my shit. That's right. Yeah, get on your knees. Shut up. What are you looking at? I'll fucking burn your whole village down. You know what I'm saying?
And,
Like, why is he
it
acting
is.
like this?
And you know what though? But this isn't a new idea. But the difference is that the same people who represent the ear healer, we are the legacy. This dude Jesus, we believe he was God. We believe that he put us in charge in his stead to do shit just like he would do. We have told you what books represent him accurately and which books don't. And if you come to a different conclusion, we're not going to heal your ear. We're going to fucking kill you in the name of Jesus. That's how history
They
works.
kill
That's
you
why
in the
when I
name
see
of the
Christians,
ear healer.
you know what I'm saying? And they're just like, look, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. But who made your Bible? Who gave you the code? Who codified that? Who was the curator of the information? And are you aware of any other information that was out there? Because that's not a new idea. And because I even heard like I was watching the Alex Stein shit. And he was talking with his
Stein,
producer
you say, huh?
JVT. Oh, he's one of us for sure. He's a Adam King. And they were talking about like because somebody was like arguing him about flat earth or whatever, and he was asking him, and he's got like a degree in divinity or something from like Princeton or some shit. Like again, they're going to these institutions made by man, they're getting all this, so you should know more than anybody. And so the dude asks him, he's like, well look, if God made all this, what's up with Saturn? What's up with Mars? What the fuck do we need these other planets for? What are they even there for? What is the purpose of them? And the way that he was giving them, the way he explained it was like, well, that was just God showing off. It was God. Again, it's megalomania. Hey, I know I made all this shit where there's life. Well, here's a couple more where there's absolutely nothing going on, but I just want to do the helicopter with my dick to show you that I can do it. So I'm putting that shit out there. Look at it. Do you see what I did? I even put a ring around it. Fuck it. I'm awesome. Like that was his explanation. And again, this is why I say I think
mysterious
dude.
dog hole in the corner.
Right, and there's some shit we can't, and but again, and that's why I say I do think the Jews got the right cosmology because you separate light from dark. You're talking about creating a whole nother realm of existence. I like that makes more sense to me that this was just all the chaotic remnants of what happens when you say I want to go pretend to be God instead of God. And how am I gonna bring the ingredients together to create existence? Now it makes sense that there's a bunch of fucking debris just flying all around in infinite darkness because God's not here. So you separate light from dark, you get darkness, and all there is darkness. And even when I hear Christians try to break down and give me some science on shit, I'm like, okay, look, if the sun didn't come to the third or the fucking fourth day, what were the first 3 days? How do you have days of night and day if there's no sun? Because the sun wasn't even made. Oh, well, it's a Hebrew word that actually means to make appear. It was always there, but it wasn't put into place. Ah, it was. So you believe it was always there and someone put it into place. Maybe that's why the moon is the fucking perfect shape to cover shit up. Yeah, it does feel like some shit was just moved around just right to wobble just perfectly to be just the right degree away to get the ingredients to make what we know as biological life. So if you were designing all of this shit and you found yourself on the other end of some shit you were cast out, and you just looked around and it was nothing but infinite darkness and just ingredients floating around, and you were trying to make existence out of that, yeah, that kind of makes sense to me. How you would put shit in order to start trying to create life, but that doesn't seem like the master plan of an infinite consciousness that's aware of everything and can make shit perfectly. If you were going to make shit perfectly, this realm of existence is absolutely not it. It's absolutely not it.
God left his Xbox on. And he was in a Call of Duty lobby. And now his kids playing a ranked game. That's what happened. His kids playing
With
a
a
ranked
lot
game.
of cheaters.
Everybody's running around on they're doing their fucking mission. They're going exactly where they're supposed to go, and somebody's just jumping around and throwing grenades. And that's what happens when you leave your motherfucking. That's what this realm is right here. It's the kids just jumping around, throwing grenades and blowing shit up for fun because nobody's really driving this motherfucker. But that makes it fun. I will say that it makes it fun, especially when you can step back. For me, anyway, I think one of the most powerful things that just kind of fell into my lap was it's not really you could say it. I'm not gonna fluff it up and romanticize it and paint it to be some high philosophical concept. I'll just say it's like indifference. It's indifference to a level about what how other people are interpreting their experience and processing information and shit like that. Because I remember being really, really tied to all these things. Like I said, we brought up Dr. York. I remember reading 365 questions to ask a Christian and trying to memorize as much of it as you could because you wanted to be strapped when somebody fucking brings up some shit. You want to name the scriptures for, you want to like debunk shit. And then I got to a point where it's like theater. It's like listening to somebody explain their connection to their religion or anything else of that matter. It's like watching a trailer for a movie. Like I don't have to critique the trailer. I don't, even if it's just a clip of something that I'm seeing. It's a snapshot into this person's consciousness, and I really just it's such a blessing. It's a superpower. I think I just don't give a fuck. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care at all. I was at the park recently. And usually when we go to the park, there's either Jehovah Witnesses there, there's a couple local cult type churches, and we know that's not a bad word, but that they're like some fringe churches that do some weird shit. So they're
Churches
not.
are cults. Let's just accept it at
That's
this
true.
point.
That's true. A
They're
church is
cults.
cult. That's a
Catholics are
fact.
cults.
That's a fact.
It's
They
they're all
don't
Catholics
know.
are definitely a cult.
Yeah.
they're all
If you got
cults.
regalia, you're absolutely in a cult. If you got any kind of ridiculous hat, you're absolutely in a cult.
Yeah.
Ridiculous hats, shit's burning. You got anything with incense.
Diddly accusations. Cult.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
listen, they're batting 1,000 right now. Catholicism is batting a cult 1,000.
And look, and you see all these people that is woke and the school system is woke. Yeah, they're diddling your kids too. They're a cult.
They're a cult.
They're
Bad
indoctrinating. They're all
cults.
walking in lockstep. Yeah.
Bad cults. But these people, it's just the way that they are. It's just the way that they are.
Yep.
They're gonna be who they are. They're gonna do what they do, and there is a game in there to be played if you just want to, wrestle around with people. You want to debate a little bit, but as long I think it's better to excuse me, it's better to understand that people don't really change from debate. It's just the act of debate. It's like wrestling.
Oh yeah.
No,
I
nobody's
know. Yeah.
excuse me. Nobody's evolved at the end of Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
They're gonna go bang somebody's wife regardless.
Right. It doesn't matter which way this match goes. They're both gonna go back and do whatever they were originally gonna do before the match. This is how it is. So when you go to debate somebody or you break down, you can turn them upside down, shake all the money out of their pockets, type shit, destroy their ideology completely, and they're gonna walk away and be like, that motherfucker was possessed by a demon. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's possessed by a demon. It doesn't matter. So I think it's powerful to understand this thing I'm doing right now doesn't matter. Like if a dog brings you a stick and drops it in front of you, you can ignore the dog and not throw the stick, but that's not necessarily the high road. Like, oh, I'm better than him, so I'm not gonna throw the stick. You could totally throw the stick for the dog a couple times if you want. You can throw it all day if you want. It's up to you, and you don't have to get nothing out of it other than I spent an hour yesterday throwing a stick to the dog. If that was good enough for you in that time, then it was good enough. Fuck it. I'm just saying, it's good that you know that you don't go into it. It's possibly as good that you don't go into it thinking, "Oh, I'm going to teach this motherfucker," or "I'm going to unravel his whole." That's not how it works. That's how it works. People train to make sure that their ideology is protected. Not only do, and that's the best of them. Not only do they train to make sure that their ideas are protected, the brain naturally protects the ideas that you've accepted anyway. It's very, very difficult to just introduce people to a new piece of information and have them change their mind on a dime. That's not, it's going to be difficult. And the person who's able to even take that new information into consideration and start to do the math of whether or not they want to change, that takes work to even get to that point, to consider the new information. Most people just put their fingers in their ears and say la 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 till you shut up and go away, or till y'all both raise your voices and yell at each other. That's usually how that shit goes. People don't want to learn nothing. They want to have their shit. They want to bounce it against other people and have it like when you playing basketball street ball and they bounce the ball off your head. That's what they want to do. That's what they want. They want to bounce the ball off your head, whether it's religion or red pill politics and sexual marketplace shit. Like no matter what the conversation is, they don't want to learn, and that's
They
just
want the
me.
punchline.
They want the punchline.
Oh,
Yep,
that's what
it's a
everybody's
battle
looking
rap.
for.
It's
Yeah.
battle rap. Get through your filler. You on the battle rap stage talking about, yo, it's sad that your dad wasn't available for you emotionally. You're gonna get booed. You're gonna get fucking booed. The other guy's gonna be like, "Yo, I banged your sister." Oh shit! This ain't where you get philosophical at. You know what I'm saying? It's about wowing the crowd, and that's what debate is. And most of these conversations with people go into that category. So if you want to just wow the crowd, you want to get body slam and suplex your opponent and shit, jump off the top rope, go for it. Go for it.
And ironically enough, there's a couple of passages where that's exactly how they responded to Jesus. They close their eyes, they plug their ears, and they try to throw this motherfucker off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like that was their response. All right, you're making too much sense and you're fucking up our hustle. We don't want to hear it. Like it's not a you're absolutely right. People are committed to their ideology. They don't want to change their mind. They're stiff-necked, they're stubborn, they're obstinate and like you said when they're religious, they're trained to protect it. You're not going to talk them out of their shit. And I do think it's a mark of being spiritually mature because I think like on your 365 questions for a Christian, um, everybody I think that looks into this kind of shit, you do go through the phase where it is about I want to gather all the information I can
Yeah.
so that I can decimate so I'm prepared. And I guess the older that you get, you start to see that that's completely missing the point. Like I don't give a fuck about the information. I don't give a fuck about convincing everybody in the information. If the information isn't translating into you being a better person and a decent person to the people around you, it's fucking pointless.
Right.
It's pointless. And that's what I think all of those stories were is you got a whole bunch of fucking Jewish fables about all of this crazy shit going on, double arm, double legged, fucking itself shit. And then it's supposed to culminate in we're supposed to kill the Romans and make the whole world our slaves because we're the chosen race of people. And Jesus shows up and says, you completely missed the point. It's not to rule over anybody. It's not to make anybody a slave. This world is fucked up. You try to make me the king. I'm not going to do it because I have nothing to do with the politics and the mechanics of this world. It's fucked up and flawed from the beginning. And I love that adage that you use. You can't fix the system or destroy the system with the master's tools.
Right.
Like you can't. So it's like you're not gonna make me the head of the Sanhedrin and shit is cool. Like the whole hierarchy and the way shit is constructed here is fucked up. Like none of it should exist. So the only thing I can really do is just be at your mercy, and you have no mercy. You're gonna scream and demand that I fucking get killed. But I'm telling you the truth. What did I do? I fed some people, I gave some people some knowledge, and I called people to be kind and to not try to conquer and rule over one another. And that was just a bridge too far. That was just a bridge too far. So this whole time you say that you've got the true knowledge of God, that you understand the character and the nature of God and the fucking emanations and the fucking reincarnation and the fucking double arms and all of that shit. But you say that you're doing it on my behalf, but I show up and I'm not trying to fuck people over like you are, and you have no clue who I am. You think I'm a fucking lunatic because I'm not on your shit. Like, whether it really happened or whether it was just a literary device from some person connecting with some divine consciousness to getting that insight about how humans work and what humans need to know, like it is a superior morality. I think it's a superior morality to say, if all of y'all are playing this game where you want to conquer each other and enslave one another and kill one another to have your ideology or your culture or your people in charge, if that's the game that you're playing, then I would rather starve and just die. I don't want to do it. I don't want to participate. I'd let you take me off of here before I became like you. Like, I don't know. I don't know of any other religious ideology. And like I said, with Christianity, it's not always executed. If you look in history, it absolutely would never executed on its ideals. But when you just go to the text, I don't think there's a more superior morality that's ever been cultivated than from the words of Jesus. I just don't. I've looked, and I'm happy to have anybody put some shit in front of me. Like, I look at it. I read all the shit that you're not supposed to read. You're not, because you're from this religion or this tribe or this upbringing. I want to know. I look into whatever, but I don't see anything. Everything else is definitely, we got to get them by the necks. We got to make them our footstool. We got to do some shit. We got to vote against them. It's us versus all of that shit. All of that shit is on some conquering shit. That's the only one where it's like, look, I love you so much that if you're gonna fuck me over, I'll just let you. I'd rather you fuck me over than for me to fuck you over first. That's just a superior morality. Bless those that curse you. I don't know, man. That just seems like a superior morality to me. I haven't seen anything better.
No, I
Just
mean, I definitely I wouldn't argue with that, and I'd say the things that I stick to, the things that I dig the most, don't really deal with that type of morality on that level as far as social shit and how to deal with other people, neighbors. Like the stuff that I really stick to is it's just self reflective metaphysical shit. It's meditations and sutras and shit like that that I think are just cool ways to get your brain moving in a way that it's not usually moving. You know, internally rather than focus on the external. But there's a lot of shit that's needed clearly for us to deal with each other on as far as the tribalism is concerned, as far as geographic. Like there's a lot of things at play that those things don't necessarily address. Like if you read in the Tao is not. I mean, the art of war might help you out a little bit, but again, that's not really about morality. That's about winning. Period. Like fuck them up, don't let them fuck you up. That's kind of the
Yeah,
point
that's
of
why I
it.
never understood those people who big up those books. I'm like, so you just basically want to learn how to fuck over people?
Well,
yeah, the
of
40
war,
laws of
the art
power.
of
Let's
war
get
is
it.
intelligent. It's a really intelligent document. Like it,
But
it
it's
makes
about
sense. It is
it's
about
about
winning.
espionage, and it
It's a,
teaches about war
yeah, it's
and like
about
how you
winning
have
in
to be.
war. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And the shit that it teaches you is 100% applicable
Effective. Yeah.
and effective to almost any situation that you could be dealing with. If you got a mind that's able to translate those messages, you can take that book that was written absolutely exclusively about war, and you can help that get you through conflict in your job, conflict in interpersonal
because
relationships.
people don't change.
Absolutely. People don't change and power dynamics don't change.
Yep.
You know, it scales through different levels and there's different dynamics at play, but people jockeying for position, like all that kind of shit. Like something simple that the Art of War says. It says never travel to battle. Like if you gotta fight somebody, you should be there when they get there. Don't have to don't walk 100 miles with all your troops and then have to start fighting because everybody tired and they ain't been fed and they thirsty and they fucking feet hurt. You gonna get your ass beat, right? You gotta be ready when you want to be in a reverse situation where the other team shows up like, yeah, we just walked all the way here and y'all are all well
Well,
rested. You just
y'all
ate.
walk 10 miles.
You
All
just
right, let's
hop up
go.
like, yeah, beat their ass. Let's go right now.
Let's
You know what
go.
I'm saying? So
100 miles. All right.
so there's a lot of
And,
ways.
and if you trying to be in charge and you want to build your city and you love your life and you're not
Right,
willing to do it,
right,
you got to play the Enochian power game. You have no
100%.
choice. And so, yeah, there's a lot of knowledge and circulation that'll help you get better at that for sure. But when I see these people like, Nick Fuentes and people that are merging like Christianity with politics, I'm like, yo, but that's not you. You missed the point. You're supposed to bow out. So you really don't believe the source material of your shit. So that lets you know, like, yeah, you've got something that's altogether different. The moment that you're obsessed with the condition of things here and the power dynamic games that you have to play to change things here, you're no longer following Christ. And that's not um and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but you
It
can't
just makes
parade
you have to
around.
rethink about the way you're living your life.
But I just say I'm full of shit. Look, I want
Yeah.
to do what I want to do, but I want to do it listen, I want to fuck people with the Jesus dildo. That's my flavor
Yeah,
of dildo.
there you
I got the
go.
Hulk Hogan, I got the Papa Shango, and I got the Jesus Christ. I want to fuck people over, but this is the veneer that I'm putting on top of. Like it's not substantively Jesus. It's completely divorced from that. But you wrap yourself in it. People do it with patriotism, people do it with religion, people do it, but it's just humans being fucked up humans and trying to craft a narrative as to why they get to do it. Everybody's trying to take you to the upper room. Everybody's got a story of why they need to take your bird to the upper room and why you're wrong if you don't let them. Everybody's trying to talk you out of your shit.
That's a fact. And no matter what the outer shell is, no matter what language they're speaking in, no matter what kind, like that's where it's going. Trust me, that's where it's going. Humans are the same as same thing they've always been. I don't think we've changed very much from
Our bodies
five
and shapes have
five hundred
evolved.
thousand years ago. I think we're pretty much dealing with the same people. The same thing that you know what the priest is going to do, right? You may not know exactly who the target is. You have man, woman, and child. So you get in the room with a priest, maybe not. You don't know which way he's going, but you know what's about to happen.
Or rabbi,
Or a rabbi,
or
You got
rabbi,
you
or
got a
imam.
priest, you got a priest, a rabbi, and imam. They go to the room,
right?
dad,
Imam,
kid.
it's going down, right? It's
What
going
do you
down,
think makes
and
At
then
money?
least I give it. That's one thing I will give the Muslims is they're not even sneaky about it. They're like, here's my 10-year-old daughter.
right,
give her at least 6 months to get to know her.
right. If you want,
But
totally
you
up
don't
to
have to,
you. Totally
technically.
up to
Yeah.
you. Soft suggestion. And then you get him
You
in a
guys are gonna
room,
do it anyway, so listen, just give her about 10
and then you
weeks.
get him in a room with a black TikTok guru, right? Who talk about melanin and shit like that. Now you, your wife, or your child, none of y'all safe, depending on which one of those dudes it is. But they all going for the same thing. They all
Melanin
going
is
for
magic, but
melanin
it
is
won't.
magic.
It is magic, but it's not magical enough to stop you from mouth banging a 14-year-old girl.
Apparently not. Apparently not. They want the same thing, and it's two things. They want money and orgasms. How they get the money is it could be questionable. They're not gonna ask too many questions. How they
Oh
get the
man,
orgasms
I
could be
retract everything.
questionable.
You know what? I retract. I canceling this whole episode. Adam King was right. That was the beginning of our problems. As soon as our dick came out of our own pussy, all the
Right.
problems emerged from there.
Yeah. As soon as you remove the perpetual orgasm, that was the fall of man right there. The fall of man was removing his constant state of orgasmic reality. Once you made the orgasm a thing to reach, and then you only get like a fleeting, possession of it, you
Now I
fucked
got to
up,
broker consent.
right? Oh my god!
I got to keep figuring out fucked up ways to get back there. Let me start a cult and get left alone with some kids.
And even
I'll
when I
figure it
don't,
out.
even when I don't have to broker consent, I can still do it myself. But I got to go through this archaic caveman mechanical crank turning ritual and shit. I don't want to do
Yeah.
all that. Why can't I just be inside myself and bust all day? Why can't I
Yeah.
just do that? Why can't I just live in existential bust? This is this is state of existential bust. That's what I want for my reality. I don't want to have philosophical perspective and vision. I want eyes all around my head. I want 100 eyes.
So nobody can catch me. So
Nobody
I can look
gets.
around every corner. Yeah, but could you just you're God. You have infinite consciousness. Not the way it works,
No,
buddy. I just
no,
got these eyes
no. I ain't gonna be doing
and
much.
ears.
I'm just gonna
Ears
be
all
sitting on
over
this
too.
rock over here by the lake with a koi fish at, bussing.
You know
I'm gonna
what? But if
stay
you
right
if your
there.
face is nothing but ears and eyes, you gotta have a dick in a pussy because no one else is fucking you. You're not aesthetically pleasing.
You don't need nobody else.
I know. I
That's the
know.
whole point. That's
Yeah.
the whole point. You don't
Having
need
an
nothing.
attractive face is overrated.
And then it was like, this thing is never gonna worship me. Why would it worship me? I made it too good. It don't care about me. I'm gonna split it apart, and then I'm gonna get it.
Ooh.
Yeah. See, I know.
Damn.
I made it too
Damn.
good. I made it too good.
Now it makes
And
so much
the
sense. It
fall of
makes
man began.
and if it's the perpetual 10-year-old babysitter, it's like, pay me attention. I'm the shit. Tell me I'm the shit. And you made something that just comes in itself perpetually, it's paying you no
No,
mind.
not at all.
Shit like
None.
Hasatan, get in there
Mm.
and break this shit up. Get in there, buddy. Take the pussy away from it. That'll get his attention.
Gosh, dude. Yeah, remove the orgasm. Give it some stress, some pain. Yeah, make it have a insatiable need to build buildings and vehicles and shit like that. It's not gonna want to stand still ever. It's just gonna keep moving. That those motherfuckers gonna be calling on you constantly. They're gonna need you
Um,
bad.
dude, it's knowledge about this realm of existence. That's it. You are alive because your cells divide. Life is perpetuated because of division. That is the basis of biological existence. It's necessary division and binary interplay. That's how all of this shit works. And yet there's a part of us that wants to have a unified, harmonious consciousness. And human beings have been trying to explain why we have that and where it comes from and what it represents and what we're supposed to do with it since we've been able to write shit down. That's all of this religious shit is. And if you're gonna interpret it um literally, I don't know, man. I don't know how anybody can have a serious conversation with you if you're going to have literal interpretations and you're not trying to glean that information to figure out what does that mean for how you live your life here and treat people. If any man is wise, show it with your good works. Like what's the point of all of the other shit? You missing the point. Like and what you see is like all of these people, and I don't know, and that lets you know that this world is fucked up too, because it's almost like it's geared towards helping the fucking villains win. Like right now, there's a sincerely religious dude, and three dudes go to that dude's church. Right now, there's a sincerely religious dude. He's like, look, guys, I don't think we should be chopping off their heads. And maybe we can at least let the girls turn 14 before we start banging them. Can we at least do that? And fucking five people go to his mosque and everybody hates him and somebody's probably gonna murder him.
They're plotting to kill him.
Anybody
That's what I was about to say.
they're
They're plotting to
plotting to
kill
kill
him
him
right
right now.
now.
I gotta blow this motherfucker up. I can't have 11-year-old pussy. I gotta blow that motherfucker up. It's heresy. Heresy. We gotta take him out. So like, but those aren't the people. Like, and right now, there's a dude who's like, look, I just want to help the condition of black people. I want to get black people in America organized in such a way that we start addressing our economic needs and our family needs and improve our condition. And I don't care if I get rich from it. I'd like to make a good living, but really what I'm passionate about and what I'd like to do is I would just like to improve our condition. And everybody's like, you're fucking lame. I don't care. And then some other dude's like, look, I'm gonna take all your Red Lobster gift cards. I ain't never gonna build your school, and I'm gonna fuck your 14-year-old daughter in the mouth. And that dude has all the attention. He's got all the likes. He's got all the gifts and donations coming his way. It's just I don't know. This shit is it like I've just accepted that's just how this shit works. So
Right.
you don't ever improve it. You just separate from it. You go full Amish. That's the only out.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
only
you gotta
thing
go
you.
Rastafarian. You gotta just,
But
You
like you
gotta
said,
separate and do your
separation.
own thing. Yeah.
Separation, like you said, again, which leads us back to the divine truth of the cult. You owe it to you. Not only do you owe it to your community that you want to build, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to the ideology that you think is the fix for all the suffering and the anxiety in the world. Yeah, most of us have an idea of how to organize a society, or at least not. It would be a society because I'm not thinking about it a large scale, like you take over a city or some shit like that. But most of us have an idea of how to organize an intentional community in a way that we think, at least from the outset, would be better than what we have right now, better than some of the conditions that some of us are living in right now. And some of that has a lot to do with penetration and money. That's just the way these plans work out sometimes. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna need prima noctas. That's how we make a really good society, is I bang all your wives instead of you banging your wives. That's gonna be in some people's agenda. And some people just want to mind their business and sit around the fire and take mushrooms and trip and talk about their fucking problems with each other. It's gonna be a wide range. But the point is, the people who are willing to do that, they they're taking their belief system more seriously than somebody who moves in across the street from a stranger and then starts peeking out the blinds like, oh, why don't this motherfucker have an American flag? Why don't he have a cross? He's probably don't believe in God or whatever's gonna happen. The point is, we expect a lot from the strangers that we end up living around. We want people to conform to this idea of what society is supposed to be. Some rules that none of us made. It was handed down to us through, we didn't request it. We just were born into it, and most of us just carry it because that's easier to do than question it and start fucking with the air valve on the air mattress and shit. You don't want to do that, so we just carry it and we just deal with it. I think we can be better than that. I think you owe that idea that you have that I only want to have a community full of cis white males who have traditional wives with no tattoos and they're all virgins and none of them talk back. They only speak when spoken to, and all the children have blonde hair and blue eyes and they study calculus when they're 6 years old. Like, if that's the depiction of the perfect society to you, why should you suffer in a cul-de-sac full of fucking randos? You shouldn't. You should find the people who understand things the way you understand them, and you owe it to yourself to divide, separate from the rest of this shit, and build something and show us the alternative in action. Show us
That's what
the
the Nazis
alternative
did
in
in
motion.
Argentina.
Well, I don't know if I want to evoke Nazis specifically, but I'm just saying. I think
Good
when
answer. Good answer.
I
That's a
think
great example, Doobie.
when you're willing to break off and do your own thing and prove, because I think the biggest problem is a lot of people that they go the opposite way. They say, I don't like what those people are doing over there, I'm gonna go fuck them up.
That's what I want to focus on. Yep.
Yeah.
Instead of just building your own shit. And if history tells you anything, is your commitment to Babylon will always be in vain. All of the meat trinkets and aspect future that you get out of it, in every single instance in human history, it always falls apart. Like, and there's the trade-off. I'm gonna be a part of this agenda. I'm gonna labor for it. I'm gonna work for it. I love everything that I get from it. But deep in your soul, if you're paying attention, Like, I can't wrap my head around anybody that lives in the city right now with everything that's going around, and you got no connection to
Especially
clean
with the
water,
fucking price.
bro,
Oh,
and
Everything.
you got no connection to food. Everybody around you is a hostile, dangerous stranger, and
dangerous.
and you got fucking a tree. It doesn't even drop fucking acorns out in
Yo,
front of your
can we
building.
can we just speaking of dangerous people in the city, can we discuss of 5 immigrants beating up a cop in New York.
Some
Is
gangster
I
shit.
feel like that's a CIA ploy. What the fuck
Listen,
is going on in New York?
the
What the
same
fuck is
thing
going on in New
the
York?
same thing that's going on everywhere else. Like you said, it's danger. That's a major city, bro. That's just Tuesday for a major city. You just got some people here who don't really completely understand the situation yet, and they got privileges. And like I've said several times on this illustrious broadcast, anytime you have a protected class, that's your next group of tyrants that society is going to have to deal with. When you give people privilege and you protect them, that's how you make an asshole. If you want people to be hated for a very long time, give them privilege for a very short time.
Make them chosen.
Make
Make
them
them
God's
chosen for a
chosen
while.
people. Tell them that they are. You're special. Nobody else is like you. And before you know it, they're going to be spitting on everything that don't look like them, no matter
Here,
what.
you can beat up a cop. Here's some new sneakers, and here's a credit card. Like they're even giving these folks credit card. I love that video that was circulating with the black dude out in front of the community center. He's like, "Bitch, I work a full-time job and I'm homeless. Why the fuck can I not come shower in this community center? Why can I get access to it?" And the cops are just there telling them to fuck off. Like, yo, there's all these people who just showed up illegally and they got your shit. They got, and I really love seeing all of these community center protests and shit, like or town halls where you see all of these because again the narrative is like it's the solidarity. Like no, it's the downtrodden. The Jews are together, the blacks are together, the immigrants are together.
Which
It's all the
basically
people
that's what
that have been
builds New
fucked
York.
over by white supremacy.
Yep. Everybody
That's what
except the cis white male, bro.
that's what builds New York.
Everybody is invited to the party except the cis white male. And you know what this might be? I think this is just the long game into getting the cis white male, integrating him into the rest of the human family. And let me explain that. I know it sounds like a Dr. York
That's the end of
conspiracy
the world
theory,
right there, brother.
but
That's the end of the world.
but what we're doing here is I think they, and this is just a theory of mine, okay? I think what they might be trying to do is put the cis white male through the portal of suffering so that his eyes can be opened. Because I don't know if he's been through the portal of suffering yet. Not race suffering, at least. I mean, people, you've gotten your
Well, the
ass
process
kicked
don't
by
they
each
got a
other.
block full of prostitutes now with little dens
Yeah,
out there too in New
listen,
York? So
you
that's
got
how
beat
they
up
get the
by each
white man.
other. Yeah, you got to put him through it. You got to put him. He's got to go through it because the white man hasn't made he hasn't made blues yet. You know, he doesn't like he hasn't made no blues yet. What's it like? They're not making classical music anymore. They now it's just like Amazon.
He
So they're
needs the
good at building.
photosynthesis of suffering,
He
is what
needs
you're
the
saying.
photosynthesis of suffering. He's still good at building corporations and amassing crazy amounts of wealth. He's still maybe he's definitely in the top 3 of the most debaucherous humans on the planet. But
His
there's
best years was in the 30s when they're
there's
talking like,
something missing.
yeah, yeah.
There's something missing, and
See,
I think he hasn't passed through the
Yeah.
portal of suffering for a while. Yeah, they need to get some of that swag back. So I think that's what's happening right now. That's part of what's
You ain't
happening
heard
right
a
now.
white man saying, yeah, see, in almost a century.
No
that was
swag.
The
peak. That was peak white man.
peak
Right.
whiteness
He wasn't pretending to
sprinkled the
be a Negro.
photosynthesis of suffering.
He wasn't black coded.
He was an original man.
He wasn't black coded like
We gotta
Tommy,
stop him. You see,
like Tommy from Power. He like, yo, I'm white, but not really though. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, Tommy, relax, pal. Yeah, they need their yeah see back. They need to get back to that era. Get back to that era. That's when shit gonna start changing. Cause the yeah see guy is not gonna let you block the road and fucking super glue your hand. Or he's not
No,
gonna do
bro,
it.
they're gonna pull out the Tommy
The Tommy
guns and
gun,
it's
bro.
St. Valentine's Day
Listen,
all
if you
over
throw
again.
tomato soup,
On the priceless painting.
if you throw
Yeah, I'm gonna
tomato
murk you,
soup
see?
on the
Yeah.
Mona Lisa in front of Muggsy, he's gonna let you have it, bro. He's gonna rat-a-tat-tat you. See, that's what he's gonna do. With no
Bugsy's gonna
remorse.
pop your eyeballs out from behind. Plug 2 in the back of your head.
I don't know. Something just came over me. See,
Gonna bury you in the sea. You see?
got to see these hippies destroying fine art. See, I couldn't take it.
You filled up the community center. This nice black gentleman can't shower now. See? Yeah. Yeah.
Get back across that border. See, listen, no, I'm not.
We're starting a
listen.
civil war. See? We're showing up at the border. We're armed with Tommy guns. Hey?
Is that guy Republican? Yes.
And then he does a little.
conservative.
Look, he does a little Irish jig. He puts on his derby and he just starts popping off shots. And everybody's like, "Yo, that is the coolest shit I've ever seen." He did an Irish jig. He was dressed to the nines, and he murdered 478 Hondurans right in front of my eyes. He had 3 drums on deck full of bullets.
Listen,
Yeah.
the white man got homogenized. He homogenized himself. He homogenized himself to consolidate his numbers against the Negro, and he lost all his power.
Yeah.
There's no Irish
That's how
jig
Travis got his
anymore.
groove back.
Yeah, right. There's no Irish jig anymore because they're all just white.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They've taken it all away because they wanted to fudge the numbers. They wanted to cook the books. And this is the book cooking coming back to bite you, bro. This is the chickens coming home to roost. Now you gotta
you're
get
all
granular
plain
again.
now.
Yep. You gotta get granular again. You gotta break off. You gotta get tribal again, yo.
Oh shit.
You gotta get
Yeah,
tribal
I think
again.
you figured it out. I think you figured it out, bro.
That's it. That's it. That's it. But for real, I mean, I think it's all has a purpose. It's all going somewhere, and maybe it's not. But wherever we end up at, hopefully we get the best out of it. We make the most of it. I think that's the whole point of this journey, anyway, is to just have a great fucking time. It shit ain't always going to be great, but you can still try to have a great time. I think that's more important than everything
Especially if you
else.
can't control it.
And you know what else? You know what else is more important than a lot of things people don't want to admit to themselves? I'm gonna have to put this guy on screen just so everybody knows how important this is. We haven't done this in a while, but this is the big homie, Dr. Umar. He's the person who gave us our secondary financial planner. Our first financial planner, it came from a important place. I don't know if I want to name exactly where it came from, but it's trustworthy, it's time tested, and it's been approved. But Dr. Umar donated our secondary financial philosophy.
Donations, gifts,
And what else?
more gifts,
That's it.
more gifts.
I love it. I love this guy. That's my
Dude,
favorite.
the Red
clip of him
Lobster
of all
gift
time.
card gets me every time.
Yeah, because when he put that one up specifically, he like, how we feel about Red Lobster. Boy. That's that.
Yo,
shit right
all that crazy shit he says about white people, but he gotta go to his Red Lobster.
Cheddar Bay biscuits.
there. Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna argue with him.
Them Cheddar Bay biscuits have them speaking in tongues to Oshun.
I don't know what you white people are doing, but them cheddar biscuits, baby.
I don't trust white people to do nothing
With
except
them
make
cheddar
me some
biscuits.
Cheddar Bay biscuits.
And actually, brother, white people didn't come up with that. A brother by the name of Thomas Douglas in 1847 made the
Thomas
first
Cheddar Bay
Cheddar
Douglas.
Bay
Cheddar
biscuit.
biscuits.
Thomas Cheddar Bay Douglas. You ain't never known no white man named Cheddar Bay. You ain't never met a white man named Cheddar
Well, I
Bay.
come to Red Lobster every day to let you niggas know.
That's us. You should have known that was us. Cheddar Bay, that's us.
Keep sending those donations.
God, I love
Gift cards.
it. I love it.
Damn, I gotta think this gotta be one of those pimp documentaries with some dude named Cheddar Bay Douglas. There's gotta be.
It's about to be now. That's the Universe B's Don Magic wine. It's Cheddar Bay.
Yeah, baby. You better get out there and make Cheddar Bay's money.
And he always got a fresh 4-piece of them. No matter where he at, no matter what's going on,
Oh
he pull out a
shit.
fresh baked warm 4-piece in the bag and shit.
Bro, Nah. Even better, bro. He got a Cadillac with like the furry interior, and he opens up the glove compartment, and it's a toaster oven,
Oh,
and he's got fucking fresh 4 biscuits
Cheddar Bay
on
4
deck
piece.
at all times.
Can I get one of them Cheddar Bay biscuits, Daddy? Bitch, you know you can get a Cheddar Bay biscuit. You can always get a Cheddar Bay biscuit, bitch.
Just come back with my money, ho.
Yeah.
I love
After you
it.
go get daddy's money.
So before we get out of here, I just wanted to use the shortest part of the show to recognize the shortest month of the year. That is Black History Month. It was very important. Very important that
You gotta love white people, man. You gotta love. Oh, you guys want equal rights? All right, gotcha.
yeah,
Shortest month of the
28
year.
days, bitch. No, I know.
We'll take it, master. We'll
I-
take it.
You're
Well,
right. and-
you get 29
Right.
every 4 years.
right. Right.
Be fair.
And I feel like you're stealing that, to be honest. I don't think I owe you that. And like you right, Master. You right. You're so evil, Master, that we gonna follow your rules and we only gonna learn about ourselves on February. Only in February, and we gonna learn about ourselves.
Yo, DJ Academic was like, you gotta be dumb if you still say MERS.
Listen, yeah, my boys were sitting here the other day, and they were watching something on YouTube, and somebody mentioned Black History, and they were laughing. It was like, wow, it's like how horrible is it that you have to ask for a month, you have to ask for your own month. And I was like, yeah, and it's the shortest month of the year. And they both looked at each other like, ooh, burn. Like I didn't even realize that. It was the shortest month. Like anybody can see that this is a slight. It's hilarious that we're gonna put this aside for you. Yeah, this is for you. This is the allotted time that you have to figure out yourself, your history, your ancestors. This is your allotted time to do it in. And don't ask me for anything else, lest you bring my wrath. Thank you. Thank you for the crumbs. Thank you for the crumbs, Your Honor. That's basically what this is. And I mean, I know it sounds like I'm hating, but if you really, really take time to think about it, how
Come
much
on, man.
how
You
much
know,
freedom you have, how much access to information you have,
yeah.
to have a month set aside. Like, okay, Negroes, open the Googles and search the history of melanin.
We'll give you a month.
You have 28 days to figure out your lineage, and
Sheesh.
then we turn the faucet back off. It's like,
But you know what the implication is that we give a fuck about any other history for the other 11 months.
right? Who's
Americans
nobody.
don't like nothing more than not knowing shit.
Right.
Who's there's no other month where like, you know what else happened? Nobody's giving a fuck. They're talking about football and all kinds of other shit. It's actually, I would argue that Black History Month is the only month where America collectively focuses on anything in history.
That's a fact.
And
You
I
must have
have
been
zero
you must have been
proof.
in the boardroom with the
Yeah, I
other
can't
whites.
think of nothing else. I can't think of nothing else where the whole country focuses on a historical event for an extended period of time.
We're not like, yo, in March, Alexander Graham Bell, he made the telephone.
But
Thomas Edison made the light bulb. It's September.
we do
Nobody
have.
gives a
No, they gotta brush by everybody because everybody like robbed and steal and tricked everybody.
Listen, I've got zero proof. I'm going to be very clear about this, but I'm going to do some research. I suspect that this had to be Jewish people's idea.
I believe that.
This absolutely had to be. You know what would make things right? If we gave them February to think about it had to be. It had to be. I think
Feels true.
I don't know when Black History Month was instituted, but I gotta think them two Jews from fucking Mississippi burning. That was the last
Light-skinned
thing that
nigga.
they did.
It was
Charles G.
it was a
Woodson?
light skinned Negro, Carter G. Woodson. He probably had Jewish friends though. It sounds like something that Jewish people
Carter
would be
G.
behind.
Woodson and that CP. He definitely had Jew
Chaim
friends.
talked them into it.
Yeah.
Yep. He
Chaim and
definitely had
Shmuley.
Jew friends. You
There's
solved
a,
it.
There's a booby
You
in there
solved it.
somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a
You
booby
solved
in
it.
there somewhere.
You want to go to Congress? I think I got an idea for you.
Like Bubby, trust me, do February. You'll love it.
Yep.
You know what would be nice, Carter?
February would be even nicer. Trust us. Trust us. Yeah, it's garbage. I mean, celebrate it if you want. Have a great time. I'm not a hater. I'm not one of those people who would be like, well, actually, Black History Month. I would never say anything. I don't like to be a parade pisser. I am sometimes.
I'll be a parade pisser.
I am
But guess
sometimes. I can be. I'm not opposed to being a parade pisser, but I usually don't want to be. I don't want to be a bubble popper. That's not the guy I want to be. I want you to enjoy your steak in the Matrix. Life is short. You know what I'm saying? We're not positive that we get more than one go round. I think some of the spiritual systems tell us we do, but we're not positive. We don't know. It's a short trip. Have fun. Enjoy your steak in the Matrix. I don't care if it is a digital coated steak. Have fun. Eat that shit.
All right,
Have a great time.
and and listen, and that's the most righteous take. I wouldn't undermine that at all. What was Carter? Because this looks like a very old picture. When did Carter G. Woodson die? Wasn't he the one that wrote the Miseducation of the Negro?
that's somebody else, wasn't it?
Was
Um,
it?
he died in 1950.
See, now I'm definitely calling bullshit.
Put up
Black
the
History Month was established in 1976.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, he died in 1950, April 3rd, 1950. Um, what is he
Carter
saying?
G. Woodson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he
And
wrote
it
Wow.
says
Miseducation.
It
I'm
says the country. Oh, his okay. Celebrating. He was dedicated to celebrating the historic contributions of Black people, led to establishment of
all
Black
right. Now
History
I'm
Month.
convinced it's us. It's the
Yeah,
Jews.
they did it.
I'm convinced
You see how you got
because
to
they
go
like
through all of. You know what I'm saying? You got to dig
they
through it to
no,
find
it
out.
was Carter. He did it. He was fucking dead. Who actually did it?
Yeah.
Who wrote the
Okay.
book? I gotta know who wrote the book now too. I'm sorry.
Black History
Uh,
Annual Observance.
no, the Miseducation of the Negro. I'm almost certain it was. Or maybe it's a different Woodson, or maybe I just can't remember shit because I'm getting old as fuck.
Another great book, by the way. Still relevant. I haven't read it, but I'm pretty sure it's still relevant.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Carter Godwin Woodson. Carter G. Woodson. Yeah. Yeah. That's him. That's him.
And just remember, I knew that because on the next episode, I definitely have to get out some vitriol about how I feel about Black Twitter at the moment. So just remember, I knew Carter G. Woodson
Right.
because
Well, yeah.
I'll definitely a
It's
racist next
noted.
episode,
It's
without
absolutely
doubt.
noted.
Okay,
Absolutely
duly noted.
noted. And I knew Booby.
Fair enough. Look, I've never called you anti-Semitic ever.
So next week, no.
When we get to the bottom, who really created Black History Month, then we have to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do
Yeah.
some real research on this because it's definitely hidden under miles and miles of gefilte fish. I don't know.
Right. And they keep, you just start digging. No, dig past the matzah. Dig deeper.
Right,
Dig deeper.
right. It's like
It's just
it's trying to
layers.
find the matzah in the gefilte stack. That's what this is.
Keep digging. Keep digging. Get past the latkes. It's there.
It's in
Keep
here
going
somewhere.
deeper.
Trust me. So yeah, we're gonna look that up. We're gonna figure that out, and we're gonna come back. But as usual, we have been the Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen, the absolute greatest think tank ever assembled. And yeah, we're gonna be broadcasting from Universe B really soon. I got some plans, I got some ideas, and we're just gonna keep working it out. So I appreciate everybody who's still rocking with us through all of these evolutions and transitions. We definitely got some major shit in the works. And I'm looking forward to next week because Black Twitter has hey, listen, I don't like to get upset with groups of people like that. But Black Twitter's special, man. There's a deep dysfunction going on in that space, and I think it's worth discussing. And we could rope in Black Clubhouse too. So I think we're gonna start streaming the Clubhouse a little bit, get some conflict going in there, see if we can stir it up. But yeah, it's wild out there, and it deserves to be discussed. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. I got some contributions to make to that one. So I will absolutely be prepared. Definitely send me some clips. Send me some of the highlights so we can stitch them all together. Maybe we'll play something like the Ether beat as we scroll through some some of the best entries into Black Twitter. That could be a good segment right there. We got to get an Ether type beat, and we'll just dig in because I think it's a bottomless a bottomless pit of content right there. I don't think we'll ever run dry on that well.
No, and don't get me wrong. I still think Jewish people are the most insufferable people online by far. If we're talking about groups that are just insufferable and humorless, but conscious Black Twitter, especially on the FBA side, it's giving us a run for the money. It's up there. It wants to compete, and it can. It's up there. It
Oh
came to
yeah.
play ball.
Oh yeah. Let's get it. Collate some information. I'm ready. This is gonna be a good one. I think we'll announce this one a few days out just to stir up some interest. I think we might have some friends of the show who might actually take an interest in hearing our analysis of Black Twitter. But I think this is gonna be a good one. Definitely looking forward to that. I
Lovely.
absolutely appreciate you brothers making time. And yeah, man, looking forward to the next link up. If we got any in between
Absolutely.
time in the near future, just holla at a brother. We can get some work done, and we always ready to get it cracking. So y'all enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll be talking to you brothers soon. Y'all take it easy.
Peace.
Absolutely. Love y'all, gentlemen, man. I'm going to go shove my Hulkamania up my Miss Elizabeth.
Hey man, enjoy yourself.
Transcend.
Peace.
Peace.